Congrats on The Tourist. I'm so excited about this show. I've been like a fan since the beginning of time with you. Once upon a time in the fall. So I'm just really excited for you to have this new show. Before I get to the hard hitting questions, though, I did notice you sing a little in The Tourist. So I'm just wondering if you'd ever do a musical or even a Broadway play, especially after Barb and Star and then Belfast and Wild Mountain Time.
Yeah, well, there you said all four jobs. The last four jobs I've done, I've sang in. It's pretty nuts. I know I'm not singing in the next thing I'm about to start, which is probably a relief for lots of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was meant to do a musical. I was actually attached to do a musical, and then with a sort of scheduling conflict, and I had to pull out of it. But yeah, I'd like to do it. Like I feel like I need a break from it at the moment because I've been doing it too much. But I'm up. There'd be a distinct challenge of doing that I would really savor. I love a challenge, so yeah, maybe. But nothing. Yeah, yeah. I love your cushion so much, by the way. So that's like my favorite image of him when
Yeah,
he's
I
going
know
like,
you love Elvis, and I think you went to Graceland with your wife, who's also a composer, and I love her too. So I think that's so cool that we both love Elvis because he's really great. Yeah.
yeah.
Let's talk about the tourist. We're talking about challenges. This role I feel like is so interesting and unique to your filmography. So how did you bring this layered complexity to life with the man?
Well, so much of the craziness of it was on there, obviously on the page. I loved, I loved how brave it was at merging genres together, and um, the challenge of playing someone who inhabits that world that has all of those different genres, but is also discovering everything as he goes along was massive and massively alluring for me. I played. I mean, in the second series of Fall, my character has amnesia, but we don't know if he's telling the truth or if he's manipulating the situation. But there's a purity to this and a truthfulness to his memory loss that was really exciting. And it sort of turned the rule book of how you prepare as an actor on its head, and that was exciting to me to take on a different challenge like that. Um, and you know, I'm always up for changing people's perception or for doing something different to what I've just done. And this was just a million miles away from Belfast, which I'd just finished, and I was like, sign me up.
And I love how when we think we know what's happening with this show, we really don't. I found myself like, biting my nails and grabbing my face a bunch of times because there's a lot of shock, moments. But it's so dark and humorous at the same time, and it's also Coen Brothers reminiscent. So, what made you want to be involved with this? Is it that whole layering, that nuance sort of details?
Yeah, and I love like all those references, and they were all talked about. The Coen Brothers was mentioned all the time as a tonal space to live in, and I just loved the ambition of it. I really loved the ambition of it, and I thought that if all the right actors are in this, and I had so much trust in Chris Sweeney, our director of the first block. He did a show called Back to Life that I really urge you to watch if you haven't seen it yet. It's incredible. That Jack and Harry Williams, who wrote our thing, produced that. So I knew the tone of it could be handled really well because it jumps from drama to comedy in a big way. Um, but I just loved this idea of constantly messing around with the audience and how comfortable they were and what they thought they knew. I thought that was really interesting. And I think
Yeah.
you truly never get a grasp of it. Maybe even when it finishes, you don't truly have a grasp on it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. And I thought this is going to hopefully entertain people for 6 hours. And yeah, I didn't know it had 100% Rotten Tomatoes. That's lovely to hear that. That's a cool thing.
Hmm. And before I let you go, I always love everything you do, and I want to see more of the things you are in. I'm wondering, would you want to return to this character? Because there has been chatter of a season two, and I just talked to Danielle, and she'd be up for it. And the way the ending was, there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot of different ways it could go. There's also a big argument for it not going anywhere else.
Mhm.
Um, I've been in this situation before. The Fall was only meant to be one episode,
Yeah.
one series. Um, I always think if there's a want for something, you need to explore it.
100%.
Uh, I don't think, for lots of reasons, this show should go on and on and on and on. But I do think there's answers that out there, and there's questions out there that need answers. Sorry. I am definitely open to it. I know that there's very slightly penciled in conversations about the idea of it. So we'll see what happens. But you know, it was the most challenging job I've ever done for a million reasons. But I also loved it. So I'd be crazy not to explore the idea of more. But
Yeah. Well, it's an amazing show and I cannot wait for everyone to watch it. It is out March 3rd on HBO Max. And Jamie, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. I am such a fan and I'm wishing you continued success from here on out and for everything.
thank you, Tanya. That means a lot to hear. Thank you very much.